Hello, everyone, and welcome to Christopher's Entertainment Blog. I am your host, Chris. Welcome to my 100% spoiler filled review on Edge of Tomorrow. Alright, guys, remember, this is spoilers in this, so if you haven't seen it, maybe come back later after you've seen it, you know. So, just a warning. Alright, guys, this movie, kind of it's kind of under the radar because the trailers for this movie. I seen the trailers for this movie and I was just like, this is another Tom Cruise movie that's just, yeah, it's not gonna matter. And the trailers they didn't make any sense to me. They did not make one bit of sense to me about what was going on. I knew Tom Cruise was in it, Emily Blunt was in it, and it was about some type of futuristic fight, and there's time travel or something going on, and then the trailers had that "this is not the end." That whole weird psychedelic thing vibe they were going was just terrible, just horrible. I was like, yeah, okay, the movie might look, okay, I'm kind of interested, but whatever. Um, and it looked to me like a cross between Oblivion and Elysium. And those movies to me were okay. I actually liked Oblivion more than Elysium for me personally. But the suits reminded me of Elysium, the Matt Damon movie, and it was kind of Tom Cruise in this futuristic thing, fighting, and it was kind of like Oblivion or something going on. I don't know. I was like, oh, this has been done before. Whatever, I'll see it eventually, but who cares? And then the word of mouth starts to get around about this movie, and people were like, this is really good. It's really good. So, okay, and I finally get to see this movie, and I gotta say, this movie is freaking awesome. Amazing. Amazing. I really loved it. I really loved it a lot. One of Tom Cruise's best movies that he's done. And he's made a lot of really good ones. He's made some mediocre, okay ones. This is the best one he's done since like the Mission Impossible the Ghost Protocol movie. That was like the last one really that he's done that was any really good, really great. I mean, Oblivion, Night and Day, those type of movies were, yeah, they were okay. I thought they were okay, but nothing spectacular. But this movie is amazing. It's like Groundhog Day, the Bill Murray movie, Groundhog Day. It reminds me of that. I mean, it has that whole same thing where he keeps reliving the same thing over and over and over and over again, like 500 times. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say I like this movie better than Groundhog Day. And don't get me wrong, I love Bill Murray, I love Groundhog Day, but I love the sci-fi vibe, the take on this Groundhog Day movie, adaptation like thing that they're going on with this sci-fi version of Groundhog Day. I love this better because I'm a sci-fi nut anyway. So, yeah, awesome guys, awesome. I love it. I love it. I mean, you have Tom Cruise who's playing this. I think he was like a major, and I'm gonna pull up the info. I'm gonna cheat a little bit because I forgot already. I mean, yeah, Major Cage. Okay, that was his name, Major Cage, and he's like a PR guy, and I love it that he goes and he's got like these orders, and they're just like, oh yeah, go out to you're gonna go in the front lines, and he's like, what? No, I'm not doing that. I'm not a soldier. I don't do that stuff. Sorry. And they're like, he's like the general. I forget his name. Let me look him up. I believe he was in the Harry Potter movies. Brendan Gleeson. He was General Brigham. Okay, and he was just a complete douchebag to him. Just like, yeah, you're going out there. Goodbye. And he's like, no, I'm not. And he basically gets up and starts to blackmail him. They see my face on TV. I'm the PR guy. I'm going to make you look bad on TV. Yeah, that don't go over too well. He goes out the door, arrests that guy. They arrest him, and then they knock him out. And he wakes up. He's on the base. And, yeah, all hell breaks loose then. He's basically stripped of his rank, and they're like, oh, yeah, this guy's a private. He's a deserter. He's scum. That's basically what he's just like, oh, my God, this poor guy. he's not even a really soldier, like a combat soldier anyway. He's being thrown into this battle. I mean, it didn't really make much sense to me. I was like, well, why? Why would you want to do that? But he's being thrown into this battle, and he's basically being told now to everyone that he's a deserter. He's like a liar. Don't believe him. He's scum. Don't listen to him. And he had his like rank completely stripped. So, yeah, very very terrible thing. And he meets up with Bill Paxton, who's great. I love Bill Paxton. He was Master Sergeant Farrell, and he basically teams Tom Cruise's character up with this group called J Squad, and yeah, basically they are like on the front lines. They are on the front lines. They're probably all gonna die, and he is just like as green as can be. He knows nothing about these suits, about anything, and they just throw him into the plane. The plane starts to get bombed. The bottom opens up. You have to eject out of there, and it's just it's horrible. He lands on the beach. He's running for his life. He has no what bombs are going off, explosions. These creatures that are called mimics, I believe, which are just scary looking robotic creatures from another planet. And this is what they're fighting, is this invasion, this alien invasion. And it's in Europe. So he's like an American soldier now he's in Europe. And he's fighting on the front lines against these alien creatures. It's horrible. It's horrible. And he's basically doing pretty good for someone that doesn't know what he's doing. He's keeping out of the line of fire. And then eventually there's this gigantic alpha mimic creature that he sees, which is apparently a rare creature, and basically he ends up blowing it up and himself with this bomb, and it kills him and kills the mimic. And the blood of the mimic, this alpha, he absorbs the blood, so and it basically makes him to where he relives the same day now, over and over and over. This whole thing where he's on the beach, so he blows himself up, and you see he's just like he's dead. He's just like, he looks horrible. He's completely like, his face is like half burned off and everything, and then he dies, and then he wakes up, and he's back at the barracks again, back at the base again, restarting that day over again, and we have to relive the being told that he's a deserter and everything, and here's J Squad, and off you go, and then he has to relive that whole thing over again on the beach again. And then he finally sees Emily Blunt's character and how she's fighting and everything, and then she dies, and then he ends up dying again. And it was just so good how they have it to where he's fighting or whatever on the beach, and then all of a sudden and he screams or something, and like something comes at him, and then he wakes up. That whole cut where he just dies and dies and dies and just keeps waking up. It was kind of funny. I thought that was very good how they did that. And yeah, and basically he ends up I just love how the fact that he keeps reliving this day over and over and over again. It seems he's like in this endless nightmare, and he finally sees Emily Blunt. And her character name was now I can't find it. I know I ain't gonna be able to find it now. Damn it. Anyway, her character is like this like veteran, and apparently she had this so-called gift too, where she kept reliving the same day over and over and over again before Tom Cruise had it, his character. And her name was Vrtasky. Yeah, Vrtasky. Okay. So yeah, she had this same thing going on with her too, where she kept reliving the same day over and over and over again. She was getting close to destroying. She was getting information how to destroy these things, and then it was taken away. Apparently, there's like this. If you have like a blood transfusion, she was hurt on the battlefield. She wasn't killed. She had this blood transfusion, and it put somebody else's blood in her, and it takes away the gift to relive the same day. So, yeah, I mean, her character was this like veteran that was she knew what she was doing, and Tom Cruise didn't. I thought it was so hilarious that he was trying to find out who she was, and then he would die in the process or whatever, and then she's like, oh, and then finally she's like, come meet me when you wake up, okay? And then he has to go through this whole like rigmarole to find her, and then it was funny like when he like rolled under the truck and was hit, and then he had to do it all over again. Um, Very funny parts in this movie, the way he dies, even though it's not supposed to be funny, but it just seems funny. Finally meets her, and this whole you know thing unfolds with him, training with her, and I just love the fact that he gets better. He gets better and better and better over time, and he goes from this PR guy knows nothing about being a soldier to this badass soldier by the end of it. I mean, he is a badass guy, and he knows every single in and out of that day, the beach, the what's going on, and by the end of it, he ends up basically seeing her so much that he ends up falling in love with her in a way. He does. And it was sad that she doesn't remember any of that. He does, but she does not. And he gets to the point where he's like, he wants to know her backstory and her name. And she's like, why? And he's like, well, you die. You're gonna die on this plane. You know, I don't want you to do it. She's like, well, why? I mean, I don't matter. He's like, well, you matter. You matter to me. You matter. And it got very touching that way. It got very touching, and you could see that he cared for her. He cared, and he didn't want to see her keep dying over and over and over again these gruesome, terrible ways. He sees her die every time, and he remembers. She doesn't, and it was great how you seen him evolve into this badass soldier, and basically he becomes a better soldier really than she is by the end of it, and then you see this whole ending where they go through all this rigmarole. They have trouble getting off the beach. They finally get off the beach. They finally make it into the city. He ends up getting frustrated and goes off to this bar, this pub, and doesn't care anymore. And then finally sees that there's going to be an attack on London, and he sees what's going to happen. And there's this whole thing where they tell that there's this like special creature or whatever they got to destroy. This is what's making him relive the same day over and over and over again. And some of that gets a little weird. Some of that whole detail gets a little strange. He ends up finding out after all this rigmarole that it's actually in Paris, and he convinces this J Squad to team up. They go in there, and they end up all dying eventually, and then Emily Blunt's character ends up sacrificing herself. Tom Cruise goes, takes this bomb, and destroy. He gets stabbed. He's dying, and he ends up blowing up this the creature. I forget what the creature was called. Um, yeah, it was Omega. Was it the Omega? That's what it was. Yeah, yeah, that's what it was. Omega. The Omega, and he blows that up, and while he's dying, he absorbs the blood from that, and he dies, and he goes all the way back at the beginning before he even got to the base. I mean, just the beginning of the movie, and he remembers everything. And now the creatures are dead; they're destroyed. Nobody knows how, and he goes straight to the base to her, and she's like, "What do you want?" And he laughs, and man, it was fun. That was great. I mean, and he got to be evolve into this badass soldier. He got to know this woman, and that he gets to relive that and go to her, and then he laughs that he's got something to tell her, and it's gonna be it was great, and yeah, this movie's great. It's great. I could rant on and ramble on about it forever. I've already went 15 minutes, guys, but real quick, some of the negatives. I mean, there wasn't really any negatives. I mean, I thought it was kind of strange, like if you had to absorb, if you got a blood transfusion or whatever, that was kind of strange that it would, take away, your power. I guess they wanted to make that tense, like, oh, if you have something like that happen, you're gonna have the power taken away from you. So it made it a little bit more tense, I guess. But um, yeah, I mean, I thought some of the scenes with Emily Blunt, well, the one where she does that push-up thing every time, and it was like slow-mo. I thought that was kind of cheesiness going on there, but not that big of a deal. Um, I thought some of the scenes were kind of repetitive, where he kept reliving that same moment over and over again. It did get a little repetitive. It started to get, especially the one with Bill Paxton and reliving that over and over and over again, and that got a little repetitive, but I still didn't mind it. Um, Maybe, I mean, the ending was maybe a little bit of a cop out, you could say. Um, but for me, again, I didn't really mind it. I mean, you might, you that are watching this, you might think that it's a cop out. But personally, for me, I didn't mind it. I didn't. I mean, it didn't. It wasn't that big a deal to me. It might be a little bit of a cop out, of course, but in the end, it was a happy ending deal going on, and I liked it. I love this movie, and I didn't really have that many negatives, and it's one of the best of the year. It really is one of the best of the year, guys. I really enjoyed it. The suits were awesome too. Those suits, I mean, when they're running from the cops in London or whatever, when they're trying to convince um, the general, um, what was his name again? General Brigham. Yeah, they were trying to convince him, like, hey, we need this thing, so he could see what was going on, where this Omega was, and and I love that, when they're trying to drive, they're driving the car, and he's got this thing in his leg, and he's like having these flashes of this where the creature was, and the guy in the suit just hits that car, and just like the power in the suits were awesome, really awesome, and they ripping doors off and everything, just great, great sci-fi movie, great twists and plot turns, and I loved it. I loved it. I really did. Great movie. Um, yeah, I encourage really anyone to see it. I really do. It's definitely one of the best of the year. There's no doubt about that. Um, am I gonna put it at the top of my list for number one? No, no. Days of Future Past for me is still number one. For me though, this is number two, and then it's going to be Captain America after that. Those are my top three so far this year. But we still got a lot. We still got a lot this year. Um, yeah, but yeah, man, I, I could ramble on about the movie for another few minutes, but um, already 18 minutes, guys. 18 minutes. Let me know, guys, in the comments what you thought of this movie, good or bad. I like reading what you have to write. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna give the movie, man, about a 9.2 maybe, just eking out a 9 that I gave for Captain America, and 9.5 for Days of Future Past. But this is a 9.2. This is so good. I loved it. I really do, and I can't wait to see it again. And yeah, guys, let me know in the comments below what you thought. Um, but that's it for me, guys, for my Edge of Tomorrow spoiler review. Um, Please give me a like and a subscribe, guys. I really appreciate the support. And I'll be back with some more videos very soon, guys. Uh, Thanks a lot, guys. I am Chris for Christopher's Entertainment Blog. Take it easy, guys.